Just have an appointment to come in here. But Mr. Bagger and Mr. Chiesa, because they're the two most important people on my staff. They can walk in whenever they want. So let me tell you a little bit about this office. As the tour guide will tell you, this is the second oldest continuously operating state house in America. Only the state house in Annapolis, Maryland is an older state house that's continuously operating. And this has been the governor's office for a very, very long time. As you can see from the way it looks kind of old, doesn't it? All the different woodwork and all the other things on the walls, and it's got very high ceilings and a very old-looking chandelier in the middle of it, right? So, this is where I work every day. This is my desk, and when I have meetings at that conference table that's right behind you. And those are the only two places where I really work or meet with anybody. Now, my office is divided up into the fun side and the serious side. So let's do the serious side first. This side over here, my left, your right, is the serious side. We'll start in the back. You'll see that thing framed in the back with the maroon around it. That is called a presidential commission. Now, before I was governor, I was the U.S. attorney, which means I was the chief federal prosecutor in charge of putting bad people in jail. And you get appointed to that job by the President of the United States. And so that document is signed by George W. Bush, who was President of the United States during the time that I was U.S. attorney. He appointed me U.S. attorney. And that's the actual document that gives you the right to become U.S. attorney. Over here, we have two things. Up on top is an old antique map of New Jersey, which was a gift to me from my brother when I became U.S. attorney. And I brought it here to the governor's office as well. Below it is a lithograph of Memorial Hall at the University of Delaware. That's the English department at the University of Delaware. And that's where I went and the First Lady went. It's college. We both went to the University of Delaware, and that's where we met. And so that's a great reminder from a long time ago. 27 years ago since I've been there. Uh-oh. The phone rings. We won't answer that. Next over here is the corner of my favorite presidents. So, we start with George Washington, because everyone should start with George Washington, because we wouldn't have a country if it wasn't for George Washington. Then, if you go around, you'll see up on top is President George W. Bush, and that's him at Ground Zero after September 11th, talking to the rescue workers through a bullhorn at 9/11. Next to President Bush is President Reagan. And that picture was taken on the first day of President Reagan's fall campaign for president in 1980. He started his fall campaign for president in 1980 on Labor Day at Liberty State Park in Jersey City, New Jersey. And that's President Reagan giving a speech with the Statue of Liberty right behind him. So he started his campaign for president there. Underneath President Reagan is President Teddy Roosevelt. President Teddy Roosevelt's one of my favorite presidents because he's a take-charge guy. Stop calling me. President Roosevelt's a take-charge kind of guy. He didn't take any garbage from anybody, and he did what he thought was right, and he worked hard to do it, and I kind of like that style. And next to President Reagan and President Roosevelt is President Abraham Lincoln. And what I'll tell you about President Lincoln, despite, in addition to the fact that it's now 150 years since the Civil War started, since our folks beat Cam's folks, because Cam's from Tennessee. She's from the South, so we whooped up on them from the North. But since President Lincoln's 150th anniversary of the beginning of the Civil War is this month, I'll also tell you that President Lincoln spoke in this building. On his way to his inauguration in 1861, he stopped in New Jersey and gave 2 speeches at the State House. Now, to the fun side of the room, over here. The fun side of the room. I'm a big New York Mets fan, which means I spend most of April to October in misery and pain because they usually stink. And it looks like they're starting off the season the same way since we're 4-5. But the picture on the left is a picture of the Mets when they were good. That's 1969 World Series, and 2 of their pitchers, Tom Seaver and Jerry Koosman, being interviewed after they won the World Series. And the next picture next to them is of Jerry Grody, the Mets catcher, stealing a base during the 1969 World Series against the Orioles. Now, over this corner is the guy I like, but who apparently doesn't like me too much, Mr. Bruce Springsteen. Now, I'm a huge fan of Bruce Springsteen, as any person who's from New Jersey should be. He's one of our great exports from New Jersey, and I've been to 125 Bruce Springsteen concerts in my life, which makes me a little bit crazy. But I love Bruce Springsteen, and that was a gift from a friend That's my favorite album, and that's the cover of my favorite album, Born to Run. That's Bruce Springsteen and Clarence Clemons. Next to that is a Fender guitar, which Bruce Springsteen autographed for me, I guess during times when he liked me a little better. And underneath that picture is a picture of Bruce Springsteen and Danny DeVito at the New Jersey Hall of Fame show a few years ago. They were singing Glory Days together. And Danny DeVito is also from New Jersey, as is Bruce Springsteen. Back here is part of fun part 2. That eagle is a painting from the New Jersey State Museum. One of the great things about being governor is the New Jersey State Museum is right down the street. You can walk around the New Jersey State Museum, and if you see a painting you like, you can take it. And so I did. I saw that painting during the transition, and I said, I would love to have that painting for my office. And when I got here, it was here. I didn't know that's what was going to happen, but it happened. That was great. And here on the mantle are pictures of my family. Over here are me and the First Lady, Mary Pat, at the inauguration of George W. Bush in January of 2001. This is my son Patrick, who is 10 years old and in the 4th grade. His class will be coming down here soon to visit. This is my daughter Sarah, who is 15 and she's a freshman in high school. This is all of us at my brother's wedding. This is my oldest son Andrew, who is 17 and a junior at Del Barton. This is me and Mary Pat on the night that I was sworn in as U.S. Attorney, which was January 28, 2002. And then over here is the real troublemaker in the family, as you can probably tell from the picture. That's Bridget. She is 7 years old, and she's in the 2nd grade. So that is my family. And back on the back wall are fun things for me. On the top on the left is a picture of me taking the oath of office on January 19, 2010, with my family, and the person swearing me in, the bald guy across from me, is Chief Justice Stuart Rabner, the Chief Justice of the New Jersey Supreme Court, who also ironically used to work for me. He worked for me at the United States Attorney's Office. When I was U.S. Attorney, Governor Corzine made him Chief Justice of the New Jersey Supreme Court. So it was kind of funny to be standing across from a friend of yours and taking the oath of office. It made it even a little more special. Underneath it is a copy of the front page of the Star-Ledger the day after the election. I like it much more saying it's Christie than if it said it's Corzine. So that's why I'm here. The next is a gift from a friend of mine. When I became U.S. Attorney, you'll see an editorial on the left-hand side where they said, try again on the U.S. Attorney. The Star-Ledger wasn't real thrilled about me becoming U.S. Attorney. And then, next to it, is the editorial on the day I announced I was leaving from U.S. Attorney 7 years later, and they liked it a lot more then. And then, so you never quite get a newspaper to say they're wrong often. They did that time, so we put that in a frame when a newspaper says they're actually wrong. And then the next two are the front page of the Morris County Daily Record, which is my home county paper, and the Atlantic City Press on the day that I was sworn in as governor. And so those are articles from that. So, that's